Good afternoon, and it is noon. God bless you for your patronage. It is May. May is coming to an end, and this is our live Q&A. The channel's live Q&A. We hold these once every month, and it's the last Saturday of each month. I think bar one, we've always kept to that schedule. And so it's easy for you to plan. Needless to say, Saturday is busy. Many of you use this time to do family stuff. It's a family cyber clinic, so we get it that the numbers are not quite what they should be, but we do have the privilege or the benefit of archived, where you can go back and watch the video. So I'm hoping that this will be useful to many of you. I'm looking at the view counts to make sure that I am speaking to a human being, and we do have a few who are in attendance already. So I hope I meet you well. The live Q&A this month is going to focus primarily on passwords, and we're doing that because earlier this month, in fact, the 5th of May, was the World Password Day. And of course, because we didn't have a live Q&A, we were not able to talk much about it, although I shared one video during the month about that. But we thought we'll focus on passwords to commemorate the Password Day initiative. For those of you who don't know, I believe it's the first Thursday of May every year, there is a day. It's the day that's set aside for an awareness campaign, and the goal is to improve that awareness, the awareness of the importance of creating unique and complex passwords, adopting password best practices to keep your sensitive information and your young one's sensitive information private and confidential. And that's important, really important that we are doing that. And we have, just like we celebrate other days, we have a day that we can just do that. And ours is like several weeks old or late, but it's still May. And I thought, okay, that we can do that. And well, as you'll find out, we're going to focus on one aspect of password security that many of you would not know this. And I didn't mean to alarm you in the, with the title of this Q&A, but many of you have passwords that a rogue knows today, and they just haven't used it. They just haven't decided to exploit it. But you find that your passwords have been leaked, and it's in a database in the public domain. Hence the reason why Google can scan and find out whether your passwords are compromised or not. And if your passwords are leaked and you're still using that password across multiple social media platforms, you walk the mats. And so my duty, the channel's duty, is to work out ways where we can do something about it, keep you aware, and more importantly, keep you and those young ones that you have authority over safe and sound from these rogues, okay? Just going to give you guys time to come on board before I start, but that is our focus. So we're celebrating, it's belated, but we're celebrating Password Day or World Password Day. And added or attached to that, we are making sure that you guys are safe, okay? Now, if you want to submit a question related to this topic, you can see the ticker. Just put the question in the comments. Make sure you put Q before your question so that I can easily pick it out. But make sure that you are putting those questions in the comments, because I am looking at the comments. I can see the comments on the screen. And whilst I have you, the few of you that are on board, say hello so that I know that I'm speaking to human beings. Don't be shy. Say hello back, okay? All right, so we're focusing on passwords. Another fun fact, the World Password Day was established in 2013. 2013, like I said, it's observed on the first Thursday in the month of May. 2013. Easily 9 years ago, someone thought this was a good idea to keep people aware of password security. In fact, on this platform, there was a time that I may have said, and I stand by what I said at the time, that passwords as we know it was on its way out. Replacing typical passwords would be biometric options, the multi-factor authentication, and all those things. I scan in and biometric options. I really felt that was the way things were going, and they are going in that direction, but passwords are still here. So they've not gone away. They're still here, and they still are important. And rogues are still exploiting weak passwords. And so that is why it's important that we talk about this. Now, I'm going to demonstrate how you can check to see if your passwords are compromised or whether they have indeed been leaked, possibility of it being leaked. And I'm going to demo it on an iPhone and a desktop. But I'm going to use Google Chrome, like you've seen in the description. We're talking about Google Chrome. I'm sure Safari, Internet Explorer, or Edge have a way of checking these things, but my focus is on Google, and we're just going to check to make sure that our passwords, for ease of use or for general smoothness whilst we engage on our computer, whilst we browse the internet. We are saving passwords. Passwords, regular passwords that we use to log on to portals. We're saving them mostly in the browser or on the computer. And it's important to know that the security around that, although it's grown, still, it still reveals how, insecure our passwords are, how basic our passwords are, and it's important to learn from our channel about best practice, which we'll discuss later on. But it's important. I can't emphasize that enough. It's so important that we get this right. And so I'm hoping that whilst you're here, that you find some benefit. We share other things evidently on the platform about other aspects of security, but our focus is on password security. I'll stop looking down at one point today, but please submit your questions via the comments. Put a Q in front of your question so that I can pick it out. And it doesn't necessarily have to relate to the password security we're talking about. If we have time, I'll come back to it and address it. But anything related to internet security, anything related to securing your young ones' time on the internet, anything about computer security, and then other things, general things like accountability, transparency, all around how you as a family engage on the internet. Okay? So I'm keen to make sure that you are doing that. Let me just look through whether there's anything else I've not picked up. So it's a perfect time now, and that's what we're going to do in a few seconds. It's a perfect time to assess password security and take steps to secure all your accounts. So when I show you what I'm going to show you now, this should prompt you to go and look at your password security in general. We've discussed here on the platform that there are many of us who set the same password across all our social media platforms. That's a disaster waiting to happen. It's not particularly related to the topic that I'll be speaking about shortly, but setting your passwords, the same password across all platforms, makes it so easy for a rogue to exploit you. Because think about it, if you have a password for your email account and your email account has been compromised and you, let's say, do a forget password and you now have a new password, you set that new password and the rogue now has access to that mail account. If he or she, yes, she, women also exploit. If this rogue, compromises, let's say they exploit your mail account and it's been compromised, what will happen is they could decide to, reset all your passwords because they have access to your mail account. And 80%, 8 out of 10 times, your social media account's password, email address attached to the social media account would be the email account that he or she has just compromised. So let me tidy that up. I've kind of confused you. Social media accounts require, once you set up an account, they require an email address that they can communicate with you using. Okay? Those communications will involve the retrieval of security information. So if your email account has been compromised, so the rogue has access to your email account, the rogue can force a password recovery on, say, your Facebook account. The email will go to that email account that you've has been compromised. So the user now has all your information and they can do damage. And if you set the same password, across multiple platforms, you can see how this is building up. So please don't set the same password across multiple platforms. If you can, also just use fewer social media platforms to limit this risk. But if you're setting passwords across multiple platforms, please use different passwords and make sure you change them regularly. That's the advice from the channel, and we'll discuss those best practices further on. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to go to the computer to just show you the Google thing that I've been mentioning, the fact that your passwords have been leaked, may have been leaked. So I'm just going to go there now and let's see what there is to see. Okay, so if you have Google, you open your Google browser, just like you're seeing there. Open your Google browser. And once it's open, see, this is a tutorial, so you might as well just do it. If you have your iPad, if you have a desktop computer or laptop, this would fit this bill. So if you have that, open Google Chrome. If you don't have it, please download it. And you have to log in using your account of choice. But log into Google Chrome like I have just done. And once it's on screen, I give you a few seconds to have that launch. So this is a how-to, all right? But it's so important. And I hope that you would gain from this session, okay? So you have it open. If you look, you can see that there are 3 buttons on, there. Can you see those 3 buttons? If you click on there, you go to settings. Okay? Settings. And then this dialog screen will come up. If you go to autofill and go to passwords on the right pane. Now, so you know what we're doing, I mentioned for those of you who are just dropping by, I'm still looking at the comments. No one has said hello, but we have a lot of you online already. Please say hello. It's important that you engage with me so I can engage back. All right. Say hello and say some nice things to me, the channel, or at least say hi to everybody else who is on the platform. But please say hello. Don't keep quiet and ask your questions. Put a Q before your question if it's indeed a question. But for those of you who are just dropping by, just arriving, we've discussed that it's important, really important, that we have we do these checks from time to time. Many of us save, for convenience, many of us save our passwords in our browsers on our computers. And saving your passwords, believe it or not, in your browser, Google knows what those passwords are. Yes, Google knows what those passwords are, which means if your system is hijacked, those passwords are going to be hijacked. But Google, before, it used to be a lot more difficult. You used to have to go to third parties to get this information. But now Google has this facility that allows you check if your passwords are indeed compromised. And if they are, it will mean that they have been leaked and they're on a database in the public domain. And so something has to be done about it. I said in the introduction that it wasn't really a clickbait. It was just really is the truth. But it may appear as a clickbait that I'm trying to get you to attend this. No, your passwords could be in the public domain as part of a breach or a leak. And that those crooks, those rogues are just biding time or waiting to pounce when the opportunity arises. Okay. So opening Google and clicking on those 3 buttons top right will allow you come to this screen when you click on settings, and we've selected autofill. All right. Autofill is obviously an automated way of saving your information into the browser so that you don't always have to type it in. It's so convenient. but there are risks. Okay, so if you see there's a check passwords there. Remember, you won't see this. You won't be able to see if your passwords are compromised unless you log in. So if you log in, then Google will be able to, across all the platforms that you are on, like your phone, your tablet, your workstation, anywhere that you've logged into Google and saved passwords to, you'll be able to check those passwords. So I've logged in with an account, and now if I click on check passwords, it's checking passwords, and it's immediately told me, yes, me, that 94 of my passwords were weak. Now, how would Google know that unless it knows exactly what those passwords are? Okay, so those passwords that Google has determined are weak are listed down here. You know, all this. And if you notice on the right hand side, and I'm scrolling it up quite quickly so that you don't need to grab any information. But if you look, it does say change password, which is an option. So the bottom line is that you have to change your passwords. It will mean that I've set these passwords for long and I haven't changed it. You understand? And if it's been leaked or it's part of a breach, then that password is in the public domain and a rogue knows it. And when the opportunity arises, the rogue will be able to exploit. Okay? And that's what we are trying to avoid. So changing passwords will be the advice that we would, offer many of you. So what Google generally does, it goes out and is able to check databases on the internet to see if your password is either part of a breach or been leaked. And it tells you that they're weak. And if they're weak, they're weak. Now, further on, it also, I did see it. I don't know why it's not showing up here, but I'll show you when I'm looking at the phone, because most of you use your phones. You probably don't use desktop and all that. Sorry if I'm making you dizzy scrolling up that quickly. But ultimately, you can check this, your system, to see if your passwords have been compromised. Okay, so you go again, you just go to check passwords. You see what it says? It says keep your passwords safe from data breaches and other security issues. And if you check, you will find the passwords that are weak. Okay, crucial, really crucial. Now, that's how you do it on the desktop. And as I said, the advice that we're giving is similar to what Google is saying. Change those passwords. Change those passwords that you have stored in your browser's cache for convenience. Change them so that, and make them strong. Like I said, when we discuss best practice, you will pick up some of the things that we are advising that you do. All right. So that's autofill, and that's the desktop option. Now I'm going to go to the phone so that we can see the phone. Let me just log into the phone. Yeah, I'm logged in so that we can see how it is on the phone. And I'm using an iPhone, like you can see on the screen there. That is the iPhone. For those of you who don't know, there is a website. Please go to familycyberclinic.com, where there's a lot of information that will help secure your family's time on the internet. We put in a lot of energy to make that happen. And we obviously have a YouTube channel, which we want you to also, consume. So on the phone, which is my iPhone, so I'm opening Google Chrome. You can see Google Chrome there. Yeah. I'm just going to go back there so you see it. Google Chrome. Now, rather than, on the desktop offering or the desktop example, the three dots were on top, vertically placed. here on the phone, you have the dots horizontally placed, but at the bottom right, like you can see there. I'm just going to scroll to it. Like you can see, well, you're not scrolling, sorry. I'm just going to click on it. So if we click, I'm clicking on that there. If you click on those three buttons, you have a context menu appear. And you scroll down to settings, which you can see there. And the options are different. You know, on the other option that we checked, on the desktop option, we went to autofill. For this one, and we've shared a video on this before, we're looking at safety check. You can see it under voice search. Safety check. And then in there, you have an option there where it says check for compromised passwords. Now, I don't know what's going to return. I'm hoping that it's going to be clean, but let's do that. So I'm clicking. Why are you not doing that? Let's go back again. Go back. Check now, right at the bottom, as you can see there. When you click on the check now, it's going to keep Chrome up to date, an advice that we can't play with. Keep Chrome up to date, and then it's going to check for compromised passwords, and then there's safe browsing, and that's protection from dangerous websites. Okay, so if I do check now, you can see that it's going away and it's come back, no compromised passwords. Now that's supposed to be good news, and it is good news, but that's no compromised passwords for this account that I'm using, which is the Family Cyber Clinic's account. Now, if I logged on with another account, it may not be the same. Let's say I log on using, okay, maybe I'm showing too many of my passwords or my email addresses, but ideally, if you log in with all the email accounts that you may have, you can perform these same checks. And if you do so, you'll find whether those passwords are safe. But I want you to do it. Just go back. So we'll do it again. So it's three buttons, bottom right on your smartphone, whilst Google Chrome is open. Go to settings and then do safety check. And once you have that, at the bottom, you have check now. If you check, it's going to check. Some of you may get, especially the middle one, may get, just like we had on the desktop, a suggestion by Google that there are weak passwords or that they're compromised passwords. If you see that, the remedy that we're recommending is that you change your passwords across all platforms. Change your passwords across all platforms. And once you've done that, change the password for the account that you're checking this against, the email address that you're checking against. Really, really vital that we do that. Okay. And so I felt that at least taking time to go through those will help you. All right. Just going to look at the comments. I can see that a few of you have decided to say hello. Let's see if I can put that on here. It is always good to have. That's Taya. Good to see you. Good to see you. Long time no see. Hello, and thank you for your company. It's always nice to have people from the old. we go way back. Trust you're well. Okay, and so we also have. Let's see. We have a Tunike. Oh, God bless you, Sister Tinu. Always a huge support. I bless you for your friendship. I bless you for all that you do. Okay. I trust you're well too. Okay. So the people who are saying hello, are doing the necessary, but I also want questions. Okay, I want questions. I'll pause whilst I wait for you to come up with questions. Not necessarily the two that I've flagged. No pressure, but any questions related to this before I move on? Any question related to what I've shared? Any struggles you may have? Like I said, please use the comments to submit your questions and put a Q before the question. All right. Password security is just so much to do. Many people feel it's so inconvenient changing passwords or doing password security, enabling multi-factor authentication. All those things are crucial, like you find out when we discuss best practices. Okay, perhaps I'll just go on so that I don't hold you up. We're going to discuss the best practices that the clinic is recommending, and we're recommending a few of them, and we hope that they're not too many to make you feel it's just too much for you to to learn. But it's important, and I want you to understand that it is important. So let's look at best practices. Okay, password best practices. You can see them there. I'll just breeze through them because I've already shown them. They're not like a slideshow where one comes up after the other. We'll just talk through them. Ensure that you have a strong, unique password and that it's set for all your accounts, not just some. What we tend to do is for our online banking portals, for example, we create unique and complex passwords. But when we are dealing with other less important portals or platforms, we just do Monday 1-2 or James 1234. No, we're saying that you should set unique passwords, complex passwords across all accounts. All, no exemption. All your accounts. Make sure that they are all robust and strong. Okay, that's easy to pick up. So when you make it unique, you're not making it too easy. You're not saying James Smith 1-2 or James and then your date of birth. No, we're saying make it unique, make it strong. A strong password will be more than at the least more than 8 characters, like you see here. I know that we've mentioned 14, which is an industry standard, but 8 is okay, because many of you find it difficult picking up or remembering 14 characters, but 8 to 14. So 8 would be our lowest, but the industry's best practice minimum is 14. We would choose 8, but we're just showing you the 14. Okay, so it's got to be that's the second point. Make sure that, or rather the third point, make sure that you have easy to remember passphrases rather than passwords. So you avoid saying James 123 if you can construct a sentence. For example, Champ is my best movie. Great movie, Champ. There's no way anybody can pick that up. Okay? Or saddest movie, Champ. Already you have 14. Okay? But try and construct it. Make something that's not easy to guess, but a passphrase or a password that is unique to you, so that it will not be easy to remember by the rogues. Easy to remember by you, but it's not easy to guess by the rogues. Okay, so that will be the third option. The second, which you can see there, is use a combination of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols in your passwords. So combine. So if you're putting, let's say, David is great. Do David with a capital D. Great could be GR8. You know, just giving you ideas. You can make the G capital. You can make the E3. But just do something, okay? Make it difficult for those characters out on the internet who only mean you harm. Make it difficult for them, all right? So use a combination of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols in your passwords, all right? So the easy to remember passphrases rather than passwords that have a minimum of 14 characters, I've said, is an industry recommendation, but the channel is recommending the minimum, bare minimum will be 8, okay? All right. Never reuse passwords on multiple accounts. I certainly know that some portals that have their policies to not allow, have strong policies around password history. You will not be able to reuse a password you've used, within the last 3 months, for example. And that's good, because reusing passwords, if your password has been leaked, like Google could tell you, then reusing a password will just mean that it can be hijacked again. So it's definitely frowned upon, and we are saying that you shouldn't reuse passwords on multiple accounts. All right? So that will be the 4th point. Don't use information in passwords that can be found on your social media profile, like your date of birth, your spouse's name, or your pet's name, because this is known to others. You have friends. Some of you just don't even lock down your profile, so everything about you is in the public domain. And if you now use that to construct a password, you're making it too easy for the rogue. Okay, so don't use information in your passwords that can be found on your social media platforms. That's a big no-no. All right. Now, we've shared this and the videos on the portal. Please feel free to go and check, but please do not ignore the request by your portal or portals, especially your social media platforms, to enable multi-factor authentication. It's crucial that you have a secondary mode of authenticating your security, because it's just something extra that the rogue does not have. It's very unlikely that the rogue will have your name, your email address, and your phone at the same time. Very rare. And because of that, it is a recommendation, because it's something you have in on yourself that will help confirm and verify, authenticate that you are exactly the person who needs to access it and not a rogue. Okay, so we have enabling two-factor or multi-factor authentication. Make sure you set it up for all of your accounts that contain personal, confidential, and sensitive data. Crucially important. Okay, still looking. There's still no questions coming in, so I'll continue. Avoid dictionary words and commonly used passwords. We've already hinted that you shouldn't use John Doe 12345 or Monday 2022, Tuesday 2022. Things that are so common. Password 1, welcome 12345. Password 1 is one that honestly is so embarrassing when you're creating an account in a hotel, for example, and they're doing it for you, and they ask you, is it okay to put password 1? And they forget to tell you or put a tick in the require the user to change password on first log on. So you've ended up with password 1. The clerk has your password. If the clerk has your password, what are the likelihood that someone on the internet will have it? Password 1 is a common password, and it shouldn't be used. because it's easily guessed, like we are seeing on that list. Okay, so we have the last one will be a password manager. All right, password manager. This is recommended. We've shared a video also on this, and I think one or two live Q&As ago, we had an opportunity to actually discuss it at length. I'm bringing it back up that we should use a password manager for creating strong passwords, because passwords are difficult. You found that I was finding it difficult, coming up with one, but you have password managers that will do it for you, and they will store it securely so that you don't even have to remember. Okay? And as I keep reminding us, cloud security has matured in 2022. So we can trust it to a large extent, a lot more than we could in past years. So it's matured so we can trust some of the functionality that's embedded in the cloud. So a password manager will help create strong passwords and secure the storage of those passwords. They will set the long, unique, complex passwords that we've discussed and save it in a password vault with strong encryption. Vital that we use it. Some are free, some are not, but it's worth any expense, because not over the top. But any money you pay to secure your passwords can only be a good investment for you and the entire family. And of course, as parents, if you lead this initiative from the front, the young ones that you are harboring will see and follow. And if they're not following by default, you've got to teach them. And they have deals. Some of these password managers have deals where you can buy family packs. And so if you if you take a subscription, it could cater for a family of 5. So everybody in the family can use password managers. And imagine our young ones growing up with a password managing or management, mindset. The future is bright, because we pray that they will be able to afford the subscription when you retire. But ultimately, we are creating a very solid foundation for them if we teach them. Now, I've listed, you probably saw this already, I've listed the top 10 password managers, and it's in that order. So first to 10, or first to the 10th. All right. And in brackets, you can see the review scores, or at least I'm scoring it out of 5. And it's on those grounds that they have their ranking. NordPass there is the first on the list. NordPass. All right. And it scored 4.9 over 5 in the, where I retrieved this online. And it has a lot of things that are family friendly, but more importantly, the bits that I've added on the right of the brackets are encryption. There is strong encryption, which is what gives you the security and comfort that the passwords that you're saving in the cloud or in the app is safe too. So it's strong encryption. NordPass seems to be the most popular. Second on the list is Keeper. You can see the review score. There's RoboForm, that has military grade encryption. Keeper doesn't have any encryption. I'm not quite sure how it's gone to number 2, but hey, I'm sure they probably haven't mentioned it, but it's there. But encryption, the channel will always recommend you look out for encryption, and that could also be built-in VPN. So military grade encryption for RoboForm. Dashlane, a smaller score, but they have built-in VPN. When we were last here, we mentioned LastPass and 1Password. Those were the 2 that I have used, and they're user-friendly. They do exactly what it says on the tin. Dashlane has built-in VPN. 1Password does not make noise about the encryption, but I know that it's in there. LastPass has excellent security. Avira has multi-factor authentication. That's obviously added security, NPass, and then Remember. That's a mouth twister or a tongue twister. And then we have Zoho. So those are the recommended password managers that we can use to help us. I know you're saying from where you are, you're saying, how do I remember all these passwords? You're saying I should create different passwords across all my social media platforms, and there are many. How do I remember them? Well, a password manager will make that easy. So you only need to remember one, but you can link those social media accounts into your password manager. So you log on with the strong password, and your password manager can do all the remembering, do all the heavy shifting. I can't see why many of us won't do that. So if you have problems remembering passwords, then a password manager is your friend, okay? Because you just need to remember one, and it will log you into those portals without you having to type it in. It's just a breeze, okay? So I'm urging you to take note of those. Crucial that you do. Crucial that you do. All right? So those are the best practices that I desired to share with you today. Password security is something that will not go away. It will not go away, and we have to talk about passwords. The channel is invested in making sure that this information is simple, so that I'm not overcomplicating things and making it even more difficult. What we have said for those who are just dropping by is that you have to set different passwords across your social media platforms. Change the password for your email account. Change that regularly. We've also said that you should get a password manager. Those three will hold you in good stead when you're dealing with these rogues who are just waiting for you to slip. Okay? We've also shared that there's a way to check to see if your passwords are part of a data breach, or your accounts are part of a data breach. And those passwords are laid bare for all rogues to see. The fact that they haven't attacked you is not because you are special. You are special, you get the idea. But they're just waiting for an opportunity. And so we don't want to give them too many tools so that they can attack you. The best thing you can do right now, if you do a check now and it returns weak passwords or compromised passwords in the results that you get back, then do what Google have said. Change your password and make it strong and complex. Okay? Strong and complex. But please do not set the same password across all your social media platforms. All right? So just like it's fun, just like you teach your kids how to write their signature, teach them how to set complex passwords. Make it fun. Perhaps play a game. Just make sure that in the game you are telling them to create a minimum of 8 characters, or a password with 8 characters, so that they learn how to, and just take them on that journey. Let them not just plug it out of the air. Let there be some plan. Let there be some sense to how they're creating passwords. Some computers, like Apple computers or Windows computers, allow password hints, and we've spoken about this before. Password hints are designed to help you, remember what you set as your password. Don't make those also too easy. What's the color of the sky as your password hint? It's blue. Not, you could say light blue, but blue is in there. So you're giving so don't make it that easy. Ask a question like, when did I start riding my bike successfully? What year? What month? What's my I'm thinking of password hints now. it has to be difficult. Don't make it too easy. What's the third day of the week? Password hint. No. You may even go vernacular. You know, well, not if you're you're from a place that's very common. But yeah, just make it difficult. I hope you get the drift. Make it difficult. So password hints are good, but don't make it too easy that they're able to guess what your actual password is. All right? No questions. It's a shame. Huge shame. No questions. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. What questions would you have? Feel free to, beyond this broadcast, because obviously it will end, you can ask questions in the comments, and I would make sure that I visit that. And whilst I'm on this, what when I showed you the website, let's go there. On the website, I showed you this. Okay, these are videos that you can watch. Of course, they link to YouTube. You can either go to the YouTube portal or go to the website. But what I want to actually show you here is the WhatsApp icon that you can see there. Now, if you really want to reach us, you know, outside YouTube, of course, we encourage the YouTube activity and engagement. But if you want to ask a question anonymously, feel free to use the WhatsApp that you can see there. And I, the administrator, will obviously be on standby to answer. So you're welcome. And how can I help you today? Some sort of bot, but it's not. You get the idea. It's just WhatsApp. And then we can start a chat. And you can feel free to, you know, that's a question that when I was testing this sometime in 2021, just to make sure it was working, it's in there. If you did the same, of course, it will go to your own WhatsApp and then ask the question, you know, and that will come to me and I'll be able to answer your question squarely. But it's important that you knew that, that we're here for you, you know. No question is off limits. Like I said, there are many things beyond what we're discussing that is dear to you and important to you. I'm simply saying nothing is off the table. Use the WhatsApp to speak to me anonymously, or use the comments if you're not worried. Ask the questions and the answers will be provided for the benefit of all connected to us. Okay? But it's vitally important that you don't keep your question to yourself. All right? It's vital. We want to be able to assist you on your journey. There are a lot of help. There's a lot of help. There are a lot of aids, you know, that will help you on your journey on the internet. The reason why we exist is that we're targeted. We can, you know, focus, streamline the discussions so that it's of benefit to you. Okay? The people who are our main concern are the vulnerable, the young ones that you are harboring, that you are taking care of. Those are the ones that we're passionate about keeping safe. Okay? That doesn't mean you're not important, but we are training you so that you can train them and keep them safe. All right? That has always been our ethos. And we'll make as much noise about that to the world. And we just desire that more than anything else, okay? So like we promised, the discussion today was firmly and solely on password security. We've covered many areas. We've mentioned that as part of World Password Day, we are deciding to talk about passwords. It's important that you are aware. We've discussed best practices. We've told you what you need to do when you are constructing or creating passwords. If you stick to those, you'll find that the whole password palaver is not that a big deal. At the end of the best practice, we kind of homed in on the password manager initiative. Having a password manager makes this so easy. So all the recommendations about changing your passwords regularly, creating a minimum of 8 character passwords, and making them strong and complex. Try to remember. Password managers will facilitate that, will help you in that journey. Like I said, we shared a list of password managers from 1 to 10, so you can take your choice. Some are free, some you have to pay. But either way, the 10 that we've recommended are strong enough to help you on your journey. All right? So that's where we got to. But of course, we talked about Google's free check-in tool. Smartphones is a safety check. You can check now and find out whether your passwords are part of a breach, whether it's been leaked and someone in the public domain has it, and what you should do. What you should do is clear, change the password, and change them across all platforms. Okay? You may even want to consider deleting your password history. In fact, that's not a bad thing. Of course, the ones that are difficult are usually the online passwords. Make sure you know exactly what that information is, because it could be an inconvenience if you can't remember. So before you empty your cache or delete your browsing history and all that stuff, make sure that you have the details to hand, so that when you delete it or empty the cache, you can recreate it if the need arises. But if you feel that there's so many passwords listed that you no longer have the information and it's just in the browser, then believe me, it's not bad to delete it and go through the rough. Ultimately, you just don't want to be exposed. So if you have the information, that's great. If you don't, and your passwords are there and they're weak and in a possible breach or leaked in the public domain, there's only one way to go, and that's to empty your browsing history, including the passwords, and start over. Okay? So I hope that has been enough. As I said, this is obviously going to be saved, and you can go back and rewatch this. We're still considering whether Saturday still is the perfect day. Perhaps we're going to change it to a weekday so that we can capture a lot more of you. The jury is out on that. We'll see where we go. Okay? We never like ending our broadcast without giving you an opportunity to be a part of this platform. To be a part, only 3 ways. Okay? Primarily, we want you to subscribe to the channel. So your subscription helps the channel in many ways, but primarily it gets this content with YouTube's, algorithm and all those things and more. It gets this information to the people who need to hear it. Okay? Because Google sees activity, it says, this is good, it's trending. It passes on to families like ours. Okay? That's what your subscription does. Your subscription gives this channel airtime, and we can do with that. And of course, if you like and share this content, then many other people get to see it too. All right? It's always encouraging to see the likes. It's always encouraging to see the subscriptions. We want to know that we are providing value to those who are connected to this channel. So the more we grow, the better things are. And then, of course, that will inspire more content going forward. If you subscribe to the channel, please make sure you click on the bell and choose all, which means that every time we release videos, and we do so every week. At the moment, we do it on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, but we release a video every week. And then we have this live Q&A that we do at the end of the month on a Saturday and at noon, giving you an opportunity to come if you're bold. If you look at the ticker that was going over the screen, I dared someone to join me live. so that we can have a conversation. And rather than me talking at you, I could have been having this conversation with someone who would be bold enough to join me, and all you had to do was type something in. But hey, too late now. You've lost the opportunity. But it would have been nice to have one of you jump on. Okay? So you know exactly what to do. Make enough noise about this channel. Make sure you get your families and friends linked to the channel. You do that obviously with all the things that I've mentioned. Okay? I've been your host, Lawrence Idem. Until next week, where we start our regular weekly, or rather, weekly uploads. I'm Lawrence. Ever ready, ever faithful. Take care of yourself. God bless and goodbye.